Hello everyone, my name is PauLInstaMyooin, and we're back for Pokemon Y Shiny Hunting episode 60, Lapras. If you didn't watch the last episode, why didn't you? If you want a quick recap of the soft resets? Well, 1,178. We might reach 1,200 this episode. But either way, this episode's topic is by me. If you ever played the game, because of course you have to have played it to be able to beat it, how long or short did it take you to beat the game Left 4 Dead 2? Yeah, so me personally, you already know I haven't beat the second one or the first one, so same for Left 4 Dead 2. I haven't beat it yet, all the campaign missions, because I just wouldn't care to play it on my own because it's not that interesting. But once I get friends, like I said, same with the first one, then I'll beat them. So most likely, so yeah. But anyway, I want to know what you all, if you've beaten it or not. Every single campaign mission. That's technically, I'm counting that as beating the game. But anyway, I'm just curious to know if you all have done that or not. So, at least one awesome thing will happen this episode. We might get a shiny, like I said. That's the chance for all the episodes. But yeah, maybe we're most likely going to be showing you that awesome Sonic theme, so I hope you're hyped up for that. So, yeah, so I'm trying to think of things to talk about for this episode, because I tried to think while I was watching a little in the beginning and a little bit at the end of the last episode, but I couldn't really think of much, so I'll try thinking some more. So I won't be talking for a few seconds. Yeah, I know it's so early in the episode, but sorry, I'm just want to make sure to have things to talk about. Oh, I'm curious to know, what, have you personally heard of all the, or a lot of the, just Pokemon theories in general? I'm curious to know because, yeah, like, what have you heard, or just, what are your most interesting ones you heard? You can share that. So I guess that's another topic for the video, so cool, because, I didn't put that down in my list of topics, so I might as well just share it in this. So, for me personally, I've heard so many theories, of Pokemon, and, it's crazy because there are ones that are so insane. So let's see. Let's start off from ones like they're from the anime and the game. Let's start off in Generation 1. So let's see. Well, where to start? There's so many. Oh, okay. Here's an awesome one. So, you know how Gengar is like a shadow Pokemon. It even says it in its Pokédex entry. Gengar is a shadow Pokemon and it's a ghost. So anyway, there's many theories about this one actually. And I've heard recently a newer one, but I'll tell you about the old one that you might have heard of already. So pretty much, there's a Pokemon called Clefairy, and evolves into Clefable. Clefable. So pretty much, if you look at the two, or just you can look at them right now, like you can look it up on Google. If you look at the two, do you see any similarities at all? If you don't, let me point some out for you. So the round size of both Pokemon are fairly the same. The ears are fairly the same. I think, yeah, Gengar has spikes on his back, and so does Clefable. And, yeah, and the big, well, Clefable doesn't have a huge smile, but anyway, Gengar is rumored to be the shadow of Clefable. And, you're wondering, how is that possible? Well, as Gengar's Pokédex entry says, that is shadow Pokemon, it could be the shadow of Clefable, because if you compare it from back and forth, from back and front and top and under, evolved, looking around at both Pokemon's bodies, then yeah, it would be pretty accurate that Gengar is Clefable Shadow, because they have a lot of things similar, and just like your Shadow in real life, it there's a lot of differences, but it's not perfectly matched because it's just the shade of the sun of objects casting over darkness. If it's casting over, like if there's a tall rock, and it's going to be having a very tall shadow. The taller it is, the longer it'll go across the ground. But anyway, so pretty much, yeah, that's like one of the main ones for Gengar in Generation 1. And it's a crazy theory, right? I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but yeah, it's some crazy stuff. Because you probably would have never thought to compare those two, because you're just like, oh, they're just Pokemon, just compare them and all that. But Nintendo really has a lot of deep backstory that they hide, but they just make it seem like obvious stuff so that people are like, no way that could be a thing. But it is a thing, I guess. So that's one of them. And another one for Gengar that I just remembered when I was just bringing up the name Gengar for the theories is that in this game there's another separate series of Pokemon called Pokemon Pokemon Ranger as well, but I mean Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. And that's much different from the normal Pokemon game, because you are actually the Pokemon, and then you talk with other Pokemon and all that, like you do with normal humans. So anyway, the first one, I forget what it's called, but it's the first Pokemon Mystery Dungeon for Game Boy. I don't remember what it's called, but you pretty much you're one of the, I think you can only be Generation 1 or Generation 2 starters, and then some of the other Pokemon like Meowth and all that, depending on what your personality is, that's what the Pokemon you are, and then you can choose what your Pokemon partner will be. And anyway, so pretty much in that game, your rival is a Gengar with an Ekans, and then I think it's another one, but I forgot what it was. But anyway, they're like the evil team, and then so apparently there's this Whiscat. Oh, I guess it is Generation 3 as well. Yeah, I remember, because there's Kecleon and everything in there. So it is Generation 1 through Generation 3 Pokemon in there. And yeah, so pretty much there's this tale of a Whiscash, a very wise Whiscash at a lake, and it tells you stories every once in a while. And there's a story called the Legend of the Nine-Tail Pokemon, Ninetales, not the Naruto Nine-Tailed Fox. But anyway, so pretty much anyone who grabs a Ninetales tail will be cursed. And apparently, he was explaining that one man, a human, actually grabbed the tail of a Ninetales by accident when he was trying to just attack or something like that with their Pokemon, or just try to grab a hold of a Ninetales. So grabbing the Ninetales, the Pokemon, their tail, probably for some reason curses you. So anyway, it has been rumored that the Gengar in the game was that same human, because in some Pokédex entries it says Gengar was once a human, and that must mean that most likely Gengar was the human who grabbed the Ninetales tail and was cursed and became a Pokemon. Because at first I was like, oh, maybe that's the main character, maybe they were cursed and that's how they turned into a Pokemon. But no, apparently it was Gengar, and yeah, so that's like another crazy theory about a Generation 1 Pokemon. I'm trying to think of what other ones. It doesn't have to do with just Pokemon. It could also be with like characters and all that. So we've got two right away that I remember. So let's see. We've got Ash, how in the first episode of the anime, like the original anime, if you haven't seen it, well, spoilers, but he was with his partner Pikachu just in the beginning. They didn't get along that well. So pretty much it was like a big thunderstorm. He threw a rock at a Spearow because he thought he was going after like a Pidgey, and then Spearows get angered very easily. Like, I would be pissed off if someone threw a rock at me. But anyway, so that Spearow called a bunch of other Spearows after Pikachu Thundershocked it without Ash didn't tell Pikachu to do that. Pikachu did that just because it was getting attacked. He was getting attacked by that Spearow. But anyway, that Spearow called a bunch of other Spearows, and then they had to escape on a bike, and they just asked to borrow Misty's bike while they were running, and then that's how Misty came along and all that. But anyway, so eventually, when they were the Spearows were gaining up on them, Pikachu shocked all of them, and then both Ash and Pikachu passed out. And this is a theory. So here is where the core of the theory is. So that Ash passing out, that is known to be Ash going into a coma, and all the adventures, even up into the generation 6 and 7, he's in a coma the whole time, and he just hasn't waken up. And it's really creepy to think about, because you think it's all, oh, joy, he just gets up and just goes on his adventure, but that's how dreams go. If you end off somewhere in real life and then you think you're still awake, then I guess that's how a coma goes, I'm pretty sure, because you're asleep for so long. But yeah, so pretty much people have made theories about that Ash could be in a coma this whole time. All the Nurse Joys and Officer Jenny's, they could all look alike, but that's just Ash's memory, just by seeing one of them and then thinking there's a bunch, because a lot of things can be made up in the dream world. And how he's able to get so lucky not dying or anything like that, and seeing a lot of crazy stuff. So Ash could be in a coma. That's one of the biggest theories, like, ever, and probably one of the original theories of just Pokemon in general. So that's another crazy theory. Another one is a war in Pokemon, in the Pokemon world, like straight up wars. That's why there's there's a shortage of adults, and there's mainly just kids. Well, eventually these kids, they eventually go into adults because of the time passed since Generation 1. But anyway, this is specifically said by Lieutenant Surge in Generation 1. He says, I think after you beat him, he says, oh man, I remember these hard battles like in the war or something like that. I forget. I'm sure he didn't say that was his exact words, but it's like him pointing towards that there was a Pokemon war. And that's why most of the grown-ups in the game are like all gone. They're just kids, and then these kids eventually grow up in the later generations into adults. So yeah, that's like another thing, because yeah, in the Pokemon manga, Pokemon can actually die. Like specifically I think the Adventures of Red, the rival of that game, I guess he's kind of Blue Gary, whatever his name is in there. He pretty much cuts an Arbok in half, like cuts it off, like its head off its tail, and it's like all bloody and gory. So Pokemon can straight up just get murdered. So I think that's what led to the Pokemon War, because they let that happen to their Pokemon so easily. But yeah, so that's another theory, and yeah, so I really did. First of all, we reached 1,200. Whoa, we were so close to not reaching it. But yeah, this will be the last one we check. So, oh yeah, and then after I check this, whether it's shiny or not, I'm gonna be showing you that awesome Sonic theme. I'm gonna be so excited to show you all. So yeah, that's awesome. Let's first of all see if this one's shiny or not. Nope, it's not. Okay. I don't mind exiting out because I didn't. But you hear that? You hear the music and everything? Look at this beautiful theme. Look at this. See, these are like the cutouts I was talking about. Look at this. Look how beautiful this is. Let me know what you think about this in the just my message or comments, and what are your favorite themes? Like, that's another question. So yeah, look at that. That's beautiful, isn't it? It's insane how detailed they can be with themes. The music and everything, the sound effects. It's some crazy stuff. But anyway, bye Sonic and Tails, and bye Lapras. Anyway, I've been your host, PauLInstaMyooin, and goodbye.